It's official. Prize free agent acquisition. Sonny Gray will start the season on the injured list. What it means for the rest of the pitching rotation at the start of the season. This is Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou and a lifetime Cardinals fan, and I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. You can follow me on Twitter, X at JD Sports Radio. You can follow the podcast at LO_Cardinals. We want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Also on YouTube, again, free and available wherever you can get to in a computer, and go grab YouTube and go to youtube.com and you can find us, Locked On Cardinals. Like, subscribe, and comment. Interact with us. Hit the notification button so you know when new episodes are posted. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans of baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. So Mother Nature rained things out on Friday. All right, we gotta backtrack a little bit here to get to the start of the weekend. Mother Nature, rainy in Florida, rained things out on Friday between the Cardinals and the Marlins, so there wasn't a game. But she also rained out Sonny Gray's throwing session, which prompted the Cardinals to go ahead and make the decision to put Sonny Gray on the injured list to begin the season. And in all honesty, it's a smart and safe move, right? I know you're tired of hearing the same old song and dance where, early games, they don't matter as much. It's a marathon, not a sprint. I could throw out a bunch of cliches at you. Don't get me wrong. The early games do matter. Like, you don't want to go out and get swept by the Dodgers and the Padres to start the season and just be like, okay, it's the beginning of the season. No big deal. It is a big deal. Trust me. But when it comes to the health of your best pitcher, you want him not risking things just for the first week or so that he can be healthy for the rest of the season. You know, you got this whole season to look forward to, so you can make up for whatever happens in April if things don't go according to plan here in the first couple of weeks. Now, granted, that didn't work so well for the Cardinals last season, who fell into the back of the pack very quickly in April of 2023 and could never go on a sustained run to ever catch up. And the season got out of hand real quick, and then it was over by June, and it was just gross. I don't want to keep rehashing this, but the idea is that they built their 2024 team to be better than last year's team and to be able to endure any slow starts they might have or endure any injuries that might be occurring, which we've got a few of them to get to. But if I'm being honest, aren't you starting to get already kind of the 2023 vibes again already? I don't know, maybe it's PTSD from what we went through last year, but it's starting to feel that way again already here in 2024. I mean, hey, we got this great outfield, right? So many guys, we don't even know where to put them all. They're so good. And now two of the guys who were supposed to be starters are gone. Tommy Edman being the one that we really have no idea about. We have no idea when or if Tommy Edman is coming back in 2024. We think he will. We're hoping he will, but there's no guarantees there. I just assume, this is just my mind, I'm going to just pretend that Tommy Edman is gone for a couple of months at the very least. Like, I'm going to say he's gone to the All-Star break. Let's just put it there. And if he comes back earlier, great. But we need to plan for life without Tommy Edman for an extended period of time, because I haven't heard that anything has gotten any better concerning Tommy Edman and that wrist that he had surgery on in the offseason. It is just not progressing the way people were hoping it would, the way Tommy thought it might. And he's going to be out for a while. The news on Lars Nootbaar obviously has been better. He's progressing. He's swinging. He's hoping to be back as soon as he is eligible from the injured list. But it feels like the Cardinals are kind of like right back in that same pickle that they were last year to start the season. You know, that no real ace or number one guy. Sonny Gray is going to miss a couple of weeks at least to start the season. Miles Michaelis, who would be a decent number 3 on most World Series caliber staffs, is now your top guy again. The guys behind him have a lot of question marks. Last year, it was Jack Flaherty and Steven Matz's help. We weren't sure how that was going to work out. You didn't know what you were going to get from Adam Wainwright, who had a horrendous September to close out the 2022 season. Dakota Hudson, Jake Woodford. We didn't know what the heck you were going to get out of those guys. We weren't sure if they were ready or not. You were hoping they would be. And then you had Jordan Montgomery, who was your only stable guy behind Miles Michaelis. This year with Gray out, guess what? Michaelis again. Health questions about Matz. We're not totally sure. We're taking it very easy with Steven Matz here in spring training. They're not trying to push him. They want him to be healthy, but you're not sure how good Gibson and Lynn are going to be. We're hoping for the best. We want them to be good, and we want them to be at least as good as they were last year in the, when it comes to Kyle Gibson, and hopefully a lot better when it comes to Lance Lynn, who was really, really bad last year. You're hoping for good things from Zach Thompson, but you're not totally sure. It's kind of a question mark there, the way Jake Woodford and Dakota Hudson were. They're younger guys that Zach Thompson has looked the part in spring training. He looked pretty good last year, too. We're hoping for good things, but you haven't seen him do it a lot yet at the major league level, so we don't know. Now, if there is a silver lining here, it's that everyone in the rotation outside of Gray has at least looked healthy, has said they are healthy, has been saying the right things about their performance this spring. Looking at you, Kyle Gibson. They've said the right things about their preparation, where they're trying to get physically and mentally. They're not so worried about the stats, but, stats is something that we look at and judge you by. So, it has been a great spring for the starters outside of Miles Michaelis and Zach Thompson. Zach Thompson was so good. So the way things are set to shake out, now that Gray is officially out of the picture for a little bit. Miles Michaelis will get the opening day start in Los Angeles. He's going to go up against Tyler Glasnow. The Dodgers came out and released their situation, their rotation decisions today. So it'll be Tyler Glasnow in that first one. Then it will be lefty Zach Thompson. He'll go against Bobby Miller, young righty for the Dodgers. And then it's going to be Lance Lynn in game 3. Game 3 for the Dodgers, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who got lit up by the Padres over in Seoul. Steven Matz will then go, and then Kyle Gibson. So they'll be starting against the Padres. So which, if that all goes as planned, would line up Lance Lynn to make the start on the home opener on April the 4th against the Marlins. Now, some might be surprised to know that this will actually be the first time that Lance Lynn has ever started the home opener with the Cardinals. He spoke with STLtoday.com's Ben Frederickson about the start, saying, "I was never honored with that gift. You always want that. You want opening day or the home opener." And then with a grin, he said, Waino was always and he called him a certain word I can't say, but let's just say jerk. We'll go with jerk, but it wasn't jerk. It's another name. He called him a Richard. How about that? We'll say that. It was always a Richard, alluding to the future Cardinals Hall of Famer, always getting that home opener starting assignment. But then he continued saying, in all honesty, you were kind of stuck back then. Waino was going to get opening day or Carp or somebody like that. You just kind of filled in where you filled in. To start years there are always 2 days that matter. If you get that opportunity to start opening day or the home opener, they are both great honors. Never done it. First time back. It'll be fun for me and the family. And Frederickson also pointed out in his story, which I'm going to link in the description and in the show notes for the audio folks, that Lynn never pitched as an opposing player at Busch Stadium, which is kind of cool. So he's never actually worn anything but a Cardinals uniform on the mound at Busch Stadium. Kind of cool, because then you go back and you're like, yeah, I guess not. I guess he never did have to pitch for any of the other teams that he played for as an opponent. So pretty neat that he'll likely finish his career as a Cardinal and will only have worn that uniform on the mound at Busch Stadium. Lynn was on the bump today against Houston. We're going to talk about that later on in the show. It wasn't great. As for Gray, he threw 3 innings in a live batting practice session on Saturday after a minor league game got rained out for a second consecutive day. He's scheduled to pitch in a minor league game in Florida on Thursday, March the 28th. Again, not expected to be back. The earliest he can come back is during the home series against the Phillies. So that's the earliest he can come back. And hopefully things will continue to go well, and he'll be back as soon as possible. The Cardinals did make a difficult decision on one prospect, with another one still hanging around camp, fighting for a spot. We'll talk about it next on Locked On Cardinals. Spring is here, and who doesn't want some extra cash for future vacation coming up this summer? Perhaps a road trip to a couple of stadiums. You're going to do one of those stadium tours and visit a bunch of them. I hear going to Pittsburgh is a good idea. Something I still have not done yet, and I don't know why. I know people in Pittsburgh. I should be going. Extra cash would help with that. Maybe you've got some weddings that are coming up and you got gifts to grab. Whatever it is, make sure you're getting cash back on all of your everyday purchases with Ibotta. It's a free app that gives you the most cash back every time you shop on hundreds of items, from groceries to beauty supplies to toys for the kids. So you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. The average Ibotta user will earn $145 per year. That could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip. Buy that flight you've been eyeing, that game you're dying to go to, you get tickets for that. Maybe you need a new Cardinals jersey. Maybe you want to get yourself a Michael Ciani St. Louis Cardinals jersey. You can do that with the $145 extra that you get from Ibotta. Other apps give you points that don't amount to much. With Ibotta, just add your offers in the app, upload your receipt, get real cash that you can cash out to your bank account, PayPal, or gift cards. Join over 50 million servers and who earn cash back every time they shop from over 2,700 brands and retailers, including Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and more. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta by using the code LOCKEDONMLB when you register. Go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app to start earning cash back and use the code LOCKEDONMLB. That's Ibotta, IBOTTA, in the Google Play or App Store, and then use the code LOCKEDONMLB. Say goodbye to those busted brackets because FanDuel lets you bet on every game of the tournament. We're working on getting into the Sweet 16 right now, and whether you're betting on big upsets that might have occurred already, hopefully you did and walked away, or you're going with those number one seeds who have been doing pretty well. It's time to go dancing on America's number one sports book. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 to use on point spreads, money lines. You can even pick who's going to win the whole dang thing. What you got to do is visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and bet on college hoops. You don't have to worry about brackets. You can bet on every single game. You like seeing what the Purdue Boilermakers have been doing so far. Man, do they look tough, right? Edie is something else, just a beast down there. Huge, 7'4". You think they're going to ride? You think they're going to the finals the way they're playing? You can bet on every single Purdue game that remains. As long as they continue winning, you can keep betting on them at FanDuel. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. Once again, FanDuel.com/lockedon. $200 to new customers in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. And keep betting on college hoops until they cut down the nets. Are you watching Fox Sports on ESPN, or on ESPN, I should say? Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel, which is programmed to you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Don't have to deal with that. Locked On Sports today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news. Streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Again, thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Leave your comments on YouTube. You can also hit me up on Twitter X. Feedback always welcome and encouraged. Victor Scott II had a memorable camp, right? The speed, the defense, all made lasting impressions on the front office, the coaching staff, the players, and of course, all of us fans. We finally got to see him in action, unless you got to see him at A-ball or Double-A last year or in the Arizona Fall League. So everybody was really excited this spring to see everything that we've been hearing about. And he didn't disappoint whatsoever. But the numbers game and youth, his age, were never on his side to make the team this spring. And the Cardinals have officially reassigned him to minor league camp along with another impressive young player, which really opened some eyes here at camp, Cesar Prieto, who hit .429 this spring with 11 RBIs. I mean, how do you not notice that? Pretty good. This spring, Victor Scott hit .316. He went 12 for 38, 10 runs scored, which led the team, by the way, at an OBP of .409, OPS of 777. Making sure I said that right. I feel like I added a 7 there, but 777, and led the team in stolen bases with 4. Probably could have had more than that, but 4. We'll take it. And on top of that, he showed why he won himself a minor league Gold Glove award last year. Numerous outstanding catches in the outfield. He covers a lot of ground in center field. And let's be honest, when you got a Jordan Walker and maybe an Alec Burleson on your sides, you need to have a center fielder who can cover as much ground as possible. The guy did everything you could possibly ask of him, and yet it still wasn't enough to make the team. But it's not his fault. It's not that the team doesn't like him or doesn't love him or that management doesn't want to win or any of those silly things that people were posting online. It's simply a numbers game. It's an experience thing that's going on right now. And I've explained this repeatedly, but I'll throw it out there quickly again. Unless Dylan Carlson or Alec Burleson completely bombed at camp this year and looked utterly useless, Victor was not going to make this team. To keep him means you play him, right? You don't bring him up and then sit him on the bench. That doesn't happen. And with Brendan Donovan looking healthy following elbow surgery, where he's playing in the outfield as well, Burleson having this great camp, hitting 364. Dylan Carlson coming to life, hitting 271, 3 home runs, team leading 13 RBIs. And then you've got the future heart of your team, you think, in Jordan Walker entrenched in right field. There wasn't a spot to put him where he was going to get the proper playing time to further his development. Now you can make the argument that having Victor in center, Carlson in left, and then Walker in right is the best trio available, specifically defensively, with Nootbaar out at the beginning of the year. You can tell me that. You can make that argument, and you're probably right. But with Nootbaar coming back sooner rather than later, they're not expecting him to be out very long. They're expecting him to be able to come back as soon as he's eligible off the IL. Someone was going to get squeezed. And right now it just makes sense to let Victor start at Memphis, playing every day at Memphis, facing AAA pitching for the first time, mind you. Remember, he didn't make it past AA last year. And then if something opens up and he's doing well at AAA, then you bring him up to play and you play him a lot. The idea is to, when they do finally bring him up, that he doesn't ever have to go back down, that he's up and he's up for good. And the resurgence of Dylan Carlson at the plate this spring is making everyone, myself included, I think feel a whole lot better about things in the outfield to start the season. Now, like I do with Steven Matz, I am cautiously optimistic about DC because of the injury history. It is real. Dude's been hurt a lot, but there's probably not a person I'm rooting for more on this roster to start the season than Dylan. I just want to see him get a chance to be the guy that we've seen before. I want to see him healthy and enjoying the game again. And lately, those things have been going well for him after that slow start at Jupiter. He came out of the gates and he looked bad. And it was frustrating for everybody involved, but they stuck with him. They kept giving him at-bats, and he broke out of it. Heard an interview between Bernie Miklasz and Derek Gould the other day talking about Dylan swinging with intent, looking to do damage with his swing instead of just swinging to make contact. And so far, the results, they speak for themselves. He's been on fire. Gould told a great story to Bernie in that conversation about how I think it was that at the Mets Stadium in Port St. Lucie, that during batting practice, it was Gorman, Burleson, and Carlson, and they were having kind of a home run derby power display type of contest, and DC was putting them just as far into the seating as Gorman and Burleson were. And this also kind of coincided with the recent surge that Carlson's been on at the plate. It could be he's just healthier finally, and we're finally seeing him with physically where he wanted to be, that his skills are starting to blossom again. Could be just confidence. Confidence is a huge thing when it comes to sports and baseball. If you go up there thinking you're going to get out, you probably will. So confidence obviously had been lacking for Dylan Carlson, but it's probably just a combination of both. He's healthy, he's confident, and I'm just really hoping that we get to see the guy that we saw back in 2021 when he finished, third in the NL Rookie of the Year award voting. And with that been out for God knows how long, Carlson has a chance to reestablish himself as a major piece in the future of this organization. And I hope he does. I really do, because we've seen it before. We know he's got the talent. he's had it all the way up through the major leagues in that rookie year, and then the injuries came in. And it's a lot like Tyler O'Neill. I hate to say it, but Tyler O'Neill, we knew, still has the talent. We knew he had the talent when he was in St. Louis, but he couldn't stay on the field to show it off on a consistent basis. He had 1 year where he was healthy, and you saw what Tyler O'Neill did. Dylan Carlson has had 1 year where he's been healthy, and you saw how good he was that rookie year. I hope it stays. I hope he remains healthy and becomes the guy that the Cardinals thought he was going to be when he was a top prospect in all of baseball coming up. The other young prospect that is still lingering around Major League camp is Thomas Saggese, acquired in that trade with the Rangers last year for Jordan Montgomery and Chris Stratton. Damn glad to meet you. Saggese had the monster year at AA, won that Texas League MVP award. He opened eyes during spring training. I believe he batting average has dropped a little bit. He's down to 304 after today's game. 1 home run, 11 RBIs, OBP of 373, slugging 435, OPS of 808. That's pretty darn good. Pretty darn good for a guy who just had a taste of AAA last year. I don't think he's going to make the team, barring something happening to Brandon Crawford and Matt Carpenter, because they've kind of got those infield bench spots sealed up. Crawford hasn't played since getting hit on the hand back on, St. Patty's Day, March 17th. Was taking swings on Saturday and scheduled a hit on the field on Sunday. But with both of Crawford and Carpenter on the squad and healthy, really not a place for him. And again, another young guy that if he's not going to play, then set him down and let him play. That's, what they did with Mason Wynn last year. Mason Wynn had a great spring last year, but he wasn't going to start at the major league level last year. They didn't think he was ready. They wanted him to work on some stuff at AAA and get as many reps as he could, and that's what they did with him. That's going to be the future for Thomas Saggese for now. There's just really not a place to put him. He's going to be a big part of the 2024 version of the Memphis Mafia, right? With Victor Scott, Cesar Prieto, Lucan Baker, who had a tough spring, Jose Fermin, Pedro Pajes, Mike Antico, Moises Gomez, Matt Koperniak. I mean, it's not a bad lineup at AAA Memphis. I know, right? Saggese and the rest of the team finished off the Florida portion of spring training today against the Astros. Lance Lynn got the start. Ooh, wasn't great again. We'll talk about it next on Locked on Cardinals. Fire TV is your destination for sports, from live games to highlights to in-depth analysis. Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as the Fire TV stick that you can plug into your existing TV, and that will provide you access to millions of movies and TV episodes, as well as free and live TV. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball, which we already had, kind of the opening weekend thing, but opening week is coming up. We got Thursday. Games are going to start meaning something. You've got the college basketball tournament. Obviously, we've been watching a lot of that. Fire TV going to come into play here. Would be huge for you. They recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free, which includes all of us here at Locked On and most of the big pro leagues and college conferences as well. Fire TV channels will let you dive into all of the game analysis, highlights, and more to keep you up to date on all the latest in the world of sports, March Madness, NBA, NHL, the Blues. Blues are fighting for that last wild card spot. They're getting close, man. They need Vegas to drop a couple games. Huge game for them coming up on Monday. But all of this is available, not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, cooking videos. It's all there. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. To learn more, visit www.amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. That's www.amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and those free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On Plus, our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today right now on the free Fire TV channels app. So Lance Lynn took the mound in Jupiter today against Hunter Brown. Was it Jupiter? No, they were on the road today against Houston, weren't they? Anyway, on the road, took on the Houston Astros. Hunter Brown, one of their bright young pitchers, throwing for the Astros. Lance Lynn on the mound for the Cardinals. And once again, things were shaky. Lance Lynn's final line today, 4 and a third innings, 6 runs, 7 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Once again, he had an inning where he had to leave early and then come back to finish his work. Again, I don't know what Lance Lynn's working on in his starts. They're all working on different things, but he was very wild today. Like weirdly, oddly wild today. Looks healthy. I'm not saying something's wrong with him, but that's what makes me think he was working on some things where things were getting away from him. Never good when you first hit the first batter of the game on the first pitch you throw. Not a good start. That's not great. Also threw 3 wild pitches in this game. So that's what makes me think that he wasn't exactly just trying to dot people up in the strike zone today. He was working on some stuff. So at times he did look like himself, but it was just kind of a messy day altogether for him and the Cardinals. They also committed a pair of errors as well, which contributed to a couple of unearned runs to come in. At one point in this game, it was 9-0 Houston. Like, it was ugly. The offense, man, where are you? Where are you, offense? It continues to struggle, and it's a little late in spring training to say, they're just shaking off the rust. No, man, I'm done with that. We got real games in 3 days. And I got Paul Goldschmidt, my MVP from 2022 over here, hitting a frigid 116. And the scary part is the alarming amount of strikeouts, 19 of them in 43 at-bats. That is not the Paul Goldschmidt I know and love. Guy's barely putting the ball in play half the time. Cardinals have had a tough time scoring runs the way that at least I thought they were going to score them this year, because we're banking on this team to be a top 10 offense, at least. And the veterans having a tough time. Goldie, Arenado, Donovan, all struggling. And if you've got pitchers who are going to be, like a Lance Lynn and a Kyle Gibson and a Miles Michaelis, who are going to give you great 6 innings, super duper, but you're giving up 3 to 5 runs in those 6 innings, your offense has got to step up. You cannot have these cold spells going on, or you're going to lose a ton of games. So they got to be better than what we've seen so far this spring. Bullpen-wise today, Andre Pallante gives up 2 unearned runs in his lone inning. Spring ERA, quietly, 1.80. I think he's on this team. If the competition for the final 2 spots in the pen is between Pallante, Ryan Fernandez, and John King, I think King is SOL. He's your odd man out, and he's been sick. He's dealing with a stomach virus right now, so he hasn't been able to pitch or even play. So that's not helping his cause. So maybe he gets sent down to start the year as he tries to get healthy. Ryan Helsley, lucky he didn't give up a bomb today. I forget who the kid was, but he hit one, and the Astros announcers were talking about, they're like, on a non-windy day, they're like, that's 450 feet to dead center. But very windy today. Held the ball up, held it in the ballpark. It hit at the base of the fence. Ended up being a double instead. But credit to Ryan Helsley. Didn't let it phase him. Struck out 2. No walks, which has been a bit of an issue for him so far this spring. His spring ERA, 1.13. You like that. And then there's Giovanni Gallegos. He throws another shutout inning. That spring ERA for Gio down to 2. But again, I want to caution you that throwing at the end of these games, they're not going up against Bregman and Yordan Alvarez and Altuve or any of the other superstars that the Astros got. They're going up against dudes who had 90s on the back of their jerseys and no names. So they're not facing the starters anymore. So it's hard to get like super excited about the numbers when you're throwing at the end of the games. That's why, like, when they bring these guys in like the 4th and 5th innings and they're facing major league hitters, you can get excited about that. But at the end of games, you're kind of dealing with the leftovers from what's on the roster. So hard to get super excited about it, but it is what it is. You still got to go out there and do your jobs no matter whoever it is they're facing. So they got it done. But the Cardinals lose today by the score of 9-4, dropped to 11-12 this spring. A reminder, last spring they had the best record in all of Major League Baseball, and we saw how the season turned out. So don't get all bent out of shape about an 11-12 record this spring. Nothing to worry about there. Who gives a crap if they won or lost these games? It's about getting the work in and doing well. But still, you want to win games. But they pack up Florida now. They're done down in Jupiter. They're going to head to Arizona. They'll play the Cubs on Monday and Tuesday. You get the day off on Wednesday, and then the regular season begins. The real games start on Thursday in Los Angeles. I'm getting awfully excited about it. Hope you are too. And we're going to be there the whole way. So thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, Do me a solid. Give us a follow on Twitter X at LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. Just shy of 2,000 followers on our Locked On Cardinals Twitter X account. So we're getting there. That'd be nice to hit that mark. Like and subscribe on YouTube. We're making the push for 10,000 subscribers. Help our channel and love for the Cardinals grow. And when you do like and subscribe, when you do that, it pushes us out there a little further for other Cardinals fans who may not know about us to come in and join the discussion as we get ready to kick off the 2024 season for the St. Louis Cardinals. You're the best fans in baseball for a reason. I will see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.